Morning, guys. It's Monday morning, starting out my week and looking over the Trello board here to see what task I'm going to work on this week. So, as I mentioned in my last video, I'm working on some things in my house, so I'm quite busy these days with real life. But I do plan on trying to put some time in this week on some major items that I'd like to cross off my list. So on the Trello board here, if you look, the one of the issues I've been trying to pay attention to is the route, not even the route. Whenever you let go of the player that you're controlling, and if you're controlling the player and you let go of the stick, the player starts to move to the right. So he'll start to jog over to the right, and that's something that I have to fix. There's something weird going on where either the player stays in the path or there's some movement being recognized. I think I know what's happening. I have a movement variable that gets set to true when it's not really true. So what happens is the player's sprite turns into the first frame, and then he starts moving to the right. I also plan on creating like just some play art placeholder images just to have for the play art to start being implemented in the game. I think I have a task for that here. Yeah, that's right here. So I'll put that as a prerequisite to I'll put the placeholder art as a prereq to the adding the play. And then the icon passing is a big one. That's one that I've been trying to get to. Right now I have it to where you can do the hashtag, like the pointer, the throwing marker, and then the throwing marker plus the distance. But I want to make it to where it's traditional as well, where you can just push the icon and it throws to the receiver. So hopefully we can get that going. And then the jump animation that I created a few videos ago, I'd like to see if I can have it to where when you push jump, the player actually jumps. Obviously it's for when the player does not have the ball. So whether you're on defense or offense and you're going to catch a pass or defend a pass, that's what that one's going to be for. So if I can get these things done this week, that would be a pretty good week. And as I mentioned to you guys in my last video, I have an artist or two that will be helping me. So there should be some new art as well. So look forward to the week, and we'll get this week started. Alright, it's Saturday night at around 9:30 p.m. and here's some art that I wanted to share with you guys from one of the two artists that I'm talking to at the moment. He put together a few frames for me for the new guy that he's working on, and I really like this art. It's more, I'd say, Super NES, maybe even higher resolution than that. A little cartoony-ish, but I wanted to share this with you guys because I'm really trying to lock down the art for the game, and I know it's early and I have a lot of code to do. This isn't my first go around with making an indie game. I have not finished one before, so I'd say it's my first go around with me trying to finish it. But in terms of this isn't the first time I've tried to work on a game, and I've learned a lot. And one of the things that I want to do is make sure that with this project, I'm passionate about it, and it's just different than the ones I've worked on before. So, and what I'm trying to say is that the art is something that I really, really, really want to spend some time on, and I don't mind if it's early because I know I'm going to do this. It's just not. There's no option to not do it. But here's an example of the initial frames that the guy that I'm talking to built for me, with different face masks, and looks like he has 4 different types. And then the guy in the bottom right is just a midget, and just to see the scale. But wanted to share that with you so you can see what the art is looking like. And then here's an animation that he was working on. I'll put these side by side because there are 2 animations that he was in the process of building for me. The one on the left, I think, is like the first version, and the second version is the one on the right, but he still was working through the animations. But I told him to hold off because I have a second artist that I have been talking to that I really, really like his art. I like this guy's art too, and he's a cool dude, but I'm not sure if this art style is a little bit different than the one I was really looking for. And but I have so much art to do in the game that I'm gonna need arts. I'm gonna need art from people. So there's plenty to go around, and if I have 2 guys working on it, then so be it. But I'm hoping that this art, once I start to include it into my game, it will begin to bring my game to life, and give it a true personality. So check out those running animations. They're not that bad. I mean, this guy looks like he's skating. But I know to all fairness to him, he said that these weren't ready. He was just starting them. So he's still working and was working on these. So if he finishes it, we'll see what they look like. But I'm not sure if he'll be working on the players or the animations or what. But let's see the other guy I'm working with. He's got some really, really cool art. And this image that you see here is the one that he sent me when I said, hey, show me what you can do. I didn't pay him any money, and, he was interested in the project. So I said, let me see what kind of art you can build. And at first he sent me this same player with this little head on it, right? And then I was like, oh, well, this player face is a little bit too simple for me. I really want the characters to have some sort of personality, have some, characteristics that are different between each player. And I'm a huge fan of customization. And if you look at these faces here, they're all very different. So he came back with this second set of faces that you see here. And I really, really like this art. I think this is the retro art that I'm looking for. I enjoy old school games. So for those of you guys who are around my age or younger, older, if you've played the old PC games like Space Quest or King's Quest, I mean, that was like super retro pixel art. And I'm not going that retro, right? I've shown you guys in my previous videos the art that I like from the guy Matthews that is doing it for that 8-bit soccer game. But he's too busy, and even that art isn't perfect for me, but I like the style of the faces, right? So this guy came out, and this looks really, really, really good. So then he went off, and he's like, I'm like, this is cool, but it's too, this is good for like a portrait view, but I need something with more of the 3/4 like top-down angle perspective. And this is a game called Speedball that we were looking at that I think captures it very well. It's not too top down where it's overhead and all you can see is the shoulders and the helmet. This is more, and it's not too straight up where all you see his whole body and he's running around very tall and doesn't really look right. So this is the in between, right? This is the hot spot, I think, the good zone that we want to be in. And this game, Speedball 2, it's an older game. I think it was made on Amiga or something. So check that out if you haven't seen it. It's a very interesting game. And then he was doing some mock-ups. I mean, check this out. This is really, really cool. Like we were talking about, being able to change the equipment for each guy, the face for each person. And these different sets of equipment will give you boosts, right? Kind of like the Tiger Woods games of the past where you would put on a certain shirt and it would give you a power boost or an accuracy boost. That's what I'm planning to do with this game. You know, the equipment that you get will give you some sort of advantage for that player. And I'm going to have a skill tree where you can't have it all, right? Like there's certain attributes that give you, you know, faster speed, but maybe your power goes down, or more power and slower speed, or you can jump very high and run very fast, but you're not strong. I mean, whatever the combinations are going to be, I'm going to try to make them where they kind of counter each other, right? And this is a mock-up that he created for a potential screen that we have that shows you the player, the stats, the position, the number, the portrait of the player, and then obviously a way for you to customize their equipment. So I really like that, and hope you guys like that as well. But this is basically just a mock-up that he did, and I'm not sure where we're going to go with it yet. One thing that we're trying to decide also is with the actual menu, do we want to keep it pixel looking for everything, or do we want it to look like a more state-of-the-art menu like a Madden? The player art's gonna still be pixel, but like the menu buttons and everything, and I'm of the opinion of keeping it pixel, you know, keeping it looking all the same theme. But we'll have to see how that works. Maybe I'll do a couple of test mock-ups and see which one I like. And this one you're looking at here is an example of, I think this is on the field where you have a very summarized view of the player. So when you select the player, maybe when you're doing substitutions or depth chart changes, this is kind of where you see the highlight of the player. And it's really just a compressed version of what we showed before, but it just gives you an idea of what this guy's capable of doing, right? And then the next one that I want to show you is, so he did all of this just for free, just to tell me he's interested and show me what he can do, right? I had a lot of questions, and I'm sure he's already sick of my questions. But I think my kid's trying to get in the room. Anyways, so I said, you know what, let's do it. I want you to make my art for me for the players, and then we'll see where it goes. And if the other guy that I've been talking to that I really like, maybe he'll do different pieces of the art. So he's like, okay, cool. So he went ahead and drew up some art for me, and this is what I'm going to show you now. So he did this like within a day, which I was pretty impressed. He created these face masks because I shared with him the fact that I want to have different face masks and I want to have variety and customization. You guys who watch me, you the YouTubers who are have been with me for a long time, you know that I'm a simulation guy, right? Madden is not what I play, and I want customization. I don't care if it has the NFL license or it doesn't. I mean, I would prefer it. But for me, I want a game that's going to be customizable, authentic, and fun to play, you know, and makes you feel like there's some strategy in the game. And if you look at these, you have different face masks, right? And I'm planning on having visors and mouthpieces and everything that we're used to having, right? Plus more. If you have any equipment that you think you'd like to have in the game, please leave it in the comments and let me know, because I'm thinking of everything I can have, but obviously we have to keep it to a certain respectable number because I can't have everything, right? But if you have anything you'd like to see that's not your typical mouthpiece, nose guard, eye black, elbow pad, you know, forearm pads, gloves, I mean, the typical things that we have, there's something different that you want, please let me know. And this game's kind of arcadey too, right? So like if there's something that is not even in the NFL that you think would be really cool, like maybe a helmet with a mohawk sticking out or something weird like that, let me know. That's a little crazy for me, to be honest, but I'm not afraid of thinking outside of the box at this point. So those are the face masks. This is the one with the visor. I'm planning on having this color and black and clear. And then here are 3 body types that he created. And they're all the same height because there's an advantage to doing that when you're doing sprite art, to keep things like interchangeable. And what I'm planning on doing is having at least 3 body types, maybe even more. And this is an example of a fatter, bigger, guy like an offensive lineman, defensive lineman. This is an example of like a big linebacker, or an offensive lineman or defensive lineman who's ripped, right? Or a linebacker, as I mentioned. I mean, it could even be like a strong safety, right? If you got some badass strong safety, a beast out there, you can suit them up with this body. And then you have your normal body for the other players. I'm thinking about having a skinny, very skinny body, and I don't know how much fatter we can get, because the fatter you make him, he starts looking like he has a lot of muscle, right? So maybe we can make the gut a little bit bigger, but yeah, that's the 3 I'm going with, and then there's probably going to be a few more. If you can think of any there, let me know. In terms of the heads are going to be swappable, right? I'm going to make it to where we have a significant number of faces in the game, and then we can swap them out per player with different hairstyles and different faces and whatever. I don't know if the hairstyles are going to be totally, different, like detached, but they may be. They may very well be. I would prefer that, and then you can put a face and a hair combination, and you can actually like start to, exponentially get more variety, right? So like if I were to put the bald on this guy or the hair on this guy, they start to look different, right? So I think that keeping the hair and the face separate would be an advantage in terms of keeping, adding more customization, right? Then you also see the gloves. Like these are like open-ended gloves, open, toe gloves, and then open finger gloves, and then these are the closed, right? So that's just an example of that. So I'm really excited about this art, man. I hope you guys like this art. I really, really like it. This is my style to a T. And then here's an example of them on a plain grass field, the same type of field I showed you before, to give you an example of what they look like on the field. So let me know what you guys think. I know it's a long video, but I wanted to share this with you guys, and I hope that you can give me your feedback and let me know what you think about the art. So we'll keep going. This is part of my devlog, so Saturday night, and this is the art. All right, so in this clip, I want to show you the way the game is loading players now. Before I do that, I wanted to tell you that up to now, all I've been doing is taking these static objects and dragging them onto my field, and that's the way that I've been working with my players and loading my players. But what I wanted to do was, and I know I'll eventually have to do, is have a file that loads the players dynamically. So what I've done here is created a JSON file. The JSON file has the ability to do parent-child relationships. So you have your parent team here and all the players that are inside of that team underneath. So I created an example file that has these basic attributes. There are a lot more attributes that are in the actual game for the players. They have, the typical equipment, abilities, their speed attributes, and all of their bio information. And like I said, this is just an example. So wanted to see if I can load the game with a data file, and I was able to do that this week. So I'm going to show you real quick what that looks like. Right now I have the players huddling up here, and this is just something I'm working on, but I have the actual positions written underneath just so you can see. But I also have the players in this area here loading. So I have the first player is all this information here, and it matches up with what you see on the right side here. So it's working. It goes all the way down to the first team where it ends at Chris Chambers. I just did the first team and I'm loading them onto the screen. So now I have all of that information. I can put their names under the player. I can put their positions. I have all of the data. And what I'll need to work on later is the saving of this data. So once I create the screens where you can actually manipulate the player names and positions or whatever, your roster, I'll have it to where it saves this file too. So just wanted to show you that and just share that with you so you know where I'm at. We'll keep going.